can we help our teenage kids?
I don't think you should try to help your children. You must help yourself because children don't listen to what you say. If they're listening, they become old when they're young. See, parenthood is a very funny thing. You're trying to do something that nobody has ever known how to do it well. Yes? Nobody has ever known what is the best way to parent their children. Even if you have 12 children, you're still learning. You may raise the 11 properly, the 12th one can give you works, you know. So, but you want to do your best. So what is the best thing you can do? One foremost thing I would say is, first thing is to work upon yourself a little bit. Spend sufficient time with yourself. Look at yourself carefully. How you are, how you sit, how you stand, how you speak, what you do, what you don't do. I think you must look at yourself very carefully because the children are picking up everything rapidly and they'll exaggerate everything that you're doing. So, one foremost thing is, at least make yourself in such a way that you would like to be. Somebody may not approve, it doesn't matter. At least you made yourself in such a way that you like the way you are. At least that much you must do. Maybe you cannot raise to somebody else's standards. We don't know what kind of standards they set for you. But at least you must become the way you like it, the way you are. That is a must. But that will only create the necessary ambience. It still doesn't make you necessarily a good parent, but it creates the necessary ambience. But creating the necessary ambience is a large part of parenthood, large part. If you create the right kind of atmosphere of a certain sense of joy and love and care and discipline for yourself and your home atmosphere, generally they grow up. Of course, you want to provide opportunities for them. Each one of us can provide opportunities only to the extent it's available to us, isn't it? Yes? You cannot provide an opportunity for which you don't have access. You'll always do according to your limitations. I'm sure in that area you'll do your best, but the important thing is what kind of human beings or brats you raise. For that, what kind of human being are you is an extremely important part of raising children. So, if your wife became pregnant, it's time for transformation for you. Because now, another life is coming in. You yourself are the way you don't like yourself to be. Definitely, one more need not go that way, isn't it? So, becoming conscious of what we are doing is extremely important. What should we teach? What we should do? I think one important thing that you should teach your children is that they learn to question everything, but not with suspicion, with a genuine wanting to know. Questioning can become a very sick thing or a very healthy process. People question because they already suspect everything is evil. This is a sickness. But the basic purpose of a question is an instrument which helps you to dig a little deeper than where you are, isn't it so? Yes? Question is essentially an instrument with which you can dig a little deeper. That's the purpose of a question. If you just bring this into your child's mind, that a child can question anything, including you, the way you are, if you allow that, in a healthy way, not in a sick way, questioning things because you think something is wrong with everybody. If you bring this, the child is constantly exercising his intelligence. This will not ensure whether he's going to become a doctor, engineer, this, that. But one thing is clear, his intelligence is active. If you anyway put him through the necessary physical paces to give him a healthy body and an active intelligence, and of course some level of education according to what you can afford, and you bring him up without any sense of identity, if you can bring him up, if you do not entangle his intelligence by being identified to this or that he's willing and open to everything, if you bring him up this way, the best possible that he can make out of his life, he will do. He may not become like somebody else, but he will grow to his maximum potential. Of course, it depends on along the way who he meets, what happens, what situations he gets into, whether he comes into a spiritual space or he goes into a war zone, where he ends up, who knows? Those things you cannot control, isn't it? But if you create an atmosphere of love, meditativeness, openness, when you're not identified with anything, naturally there is no sense of prejudice. If you bring up a child free of prejudice, in a loving, very open atmosphere, generally they do well, but there is no guarantee. Because there are other influences in the society, you don't know into whose hands they'll fall tomorrow morning. Yes? You may be doing your best, tomorrow morning into whose hands your child will fall, there is no insurance or guarantee. That's a risk that you're taking, always. But the only thing is, did you do your best or not? That's all there is to life.
They treat you more like a trophy than a human being. A good parent allows the creative freedom for their child to embrace who they want to grow into. But if all your life they've only tried to shape and mold you into what they want you to be, it's not necessarily because they know what's best for you. Instead, they may create these restrictions for their own benefit of dolling you up and showing you off to the world. If they constantly play the victim card and never take any blame for the times they've hurt you, then they want to turn the tables so all eyes can be on them again. They will trivialize your needs until you feel as though you have no choice but to give in. Don't let them have the upper hand.
If you think the way you are is everything, naturally your aspiration will be they should become like you, which will be a backward step for next generation of people. What the next generation should be, what you cannot imagine, that's what they should be. If you mold them, how will you mold them? Like yourself? And maybe your parents were better at molding than you, so you will do a worse job than them. Because probably your mother, your father, at least for your mother, maybe it was a full-time job molding business. You are part-time molder, we can imagine what you will do. Don't try to mold them. Just a child needs a stable, pleasant atmosphere to grow. To create a joyful, I'm saying first joyful, then loving, do you understand? Otherwise this just bloody sappy love without any joy and bliss around it will make people miserable over a period of time. First joyful atmosphere, if you're capable of holding it, then you can add little bit of your love to it. Children will need your love and attention till they're 5, 6, 7. After that, they want to distance themselves, they want to become their own thing. And it's fine. Your only business is to keep them in a very joyful and loving incubator. Of course, there'll be somebody else on the street who'll be trying to do something else with them. Those influences are always there, you should not protect them entirely from those things because someday they have to get out. But your business is not to mold them. One thing your child should not become is, they should not become like you. They should become something more than you, what you are, isn't it? Your idea of something more is they must earn more than you, they must have a bigger car, bigger house. This is unfortunate. If you are this joyful, they should become more joyful than you. If you are this intelligent, they should become more intelligent than you. If you're this balanced, they must be far more balanced than you. Yes? If your life is this rich, their life must be much richer. Richness not… the richness of your child's life or your life for that matter should never be a contribution from what you have. What you have gathered should never enhance your life. Please get this for yourself and your child. Who you are is who you are. What you have is to what extent is useful to us, we'll have those things, everything. Whatever we can use and enjoy, we will have. But never try to enhance your life, never try to enhance who you are by what you wear, by where you live, what you own. These things should be useful. You use them to the limit, no problem. But they should not enhance who you are. Who you are should happen from within you. If your child grows into this, whatever he or she becomes, it's fine, they need not be like you. Once you don't have this problem that they don't have to be like you, then you will see it's such a joy and freedom to raise your child. Your only struggle is they're not like you. Yes, daily struggles with the children is just this, they're not shaping up like you. How glad I am.
If your parents were highly strict, you may grow up to be codependent. Did you have an overbearing mother who picked out every outfit for you, or an inflexible father who made you practice more sports instead of hanging out with your friends? Even if they mean well or believe that they're doing what's best for you, helicopter parenting has harmful side effects, a big one being that you're more likely to grow up codependent. As an adult, you might rely on your partner to take care of the chores or have trouble adapting to work life. If your parents micromanaged you, you're more likely to develop depression. Okay, we talked about codependency, but depression is also a damaging side effect of authoritarian parenting. When you grow up with parents who do all the decision-making for you, it makes you assume that you're not competent enough to problem solve on your own. Instead of listening to you and nurturing you to learn from your mistakes, they often force decisions onto you, even ones that make you unhappy. This can lead to feelings of worthlessness and low self-esteem, which follow you into adulthood, manifesting into depression.
Children only come through you. They don't come from you. They're not your property to be conducted whichever way you feel fit. No, they are not. If you treat them as your property or your future investment, if you treat them as such, you are committing a certain sacrilege against creation and the Creator, for which there will be a price. Simply it'll come in the form of life, or maybe it'll come in the form of your children, the price.
They raise you to be codependent. Does your parent try to do everything for you? It's one thing to provide financial and emotional support, but it's a whole different story if they try to stop you from being independent, or worse, using this as a leverage to make decisions for you. Manipulative parents will often butt in and do the problem solving for their kids. Consequently, this makes the child feel as though they're unprepared to handle obstacles and setbacks on their own as they become young adults.
It will be very unfortunate to see that. I'm saying this, a very cruel thing to say to any parent, but I'm saying this because it's a very cruel thing to parent a child. The child doesn't need that. But please see, in so many ways you're doing everything possible to see that he remains dependent on you in some way or the other. You're not thinking of liberating him. So, the moment you start working, you want your children to be attached to you, isn't it? Well,
You yourself open Bhagavad Gita, you should not be attached, I should not be attached. You tell your wife, see, don't be attached to me. But your children, you want them attached to you. So, before you choose to have children, you must think about it. But if already it has happened, now at least now you must think about it properly, seriously. One thing is, if you want to produce something little better than yourself to the world, it's important. If you produce a child, it must be at least one step better than you. The same nonsense is going to happen once again. What's the point? So something better than you has to happen means the first and most fundamental thing is, you are 100% straight. Even if it's embarrassingly straight, you're 100% straight is important. This is something very hard for most parents because that's the only place where they get to boss around. They have a committed audience in their children. Wherever else they speak, nobody will listen to them. Children till they become 12 years of age, 13 years. Till they become 12 years of age, you have a committed audience, you're losing that also.
They set unrealistic expectations. Are your parents highly demanding people? It's good to never settle for less in life, but if they are frequently being unreasonably strict, this can take a major toll on your emotional and physical well-being. Whether it means pushing you to take on more extracurricular activities than you can handle, signing up for honor classes that you don't have a passion for, or pursuing a career you're uncertain of, tell them to back off. You grow at your own pace and no one else's.
You must do this. Stop parenting them. What they need is some good company, not a bloody boss walking around in the house. Yes or no? When you were growing up, did you like it? Being talked down to, did you like it? No. So what they need is a friend. They don't need a bloody father and mother. That job is already done. Fathering somebody, mothering somebody means biologically delivering them, that's been done. Now they're trying to become a life by themselves. What they need is a friend. The only qualification you have against them or over them is, you came here a few years earlier than them, that's all you have. What else do you have, I'm asking? Are you sure you're more intelligent than your child? Are you sure? Huh? What? Yes. So, the most important thing you need to understand, just you came here a few years earlier than them. All you have done is a few years earlier you landed here. Beyond that, you have no other qualification to tell them what to do and what not to do. Yes or no? But the other consideration is, if you don't tell them, somebody else unqualified advice on the street will happen. You only have to guard them against that. But if you have to guard them against that you must have the courage to bring them up in such a way that they don't take any advice from you either. You say, what I say you must listen, but don't listen to your friend. He's telling you to take a drug, don't listen to him. But what the friend says seems to be more of a pleasure than the nonsense that you're talking about. That's a fact, isn't it? So it's not going to work. If you bring up your child with such a fierce sense of his own intelligence and his own decisions, then you will see, he will seek help, because he will very easily realize that his intelligence, his understanding is not good enough for everything. But if you bring him up that he has to listen to your advice, he will come up with a rebelliousness. Even when good things are said, he won't do that, he will do the reverse of it. This is something that most parents are experiencing, isn't it? He wants to do just the reverse of it, just to feel independent, because he doesn't know what it means to be independent. So, 4 is not bad. Now, you can start treating them as just one more person, not as my child, it is not yours, I'm telling you. At the most, you're given some genetic substance to create a body. You can't create a life, don't have such grandiose ideas about yourself. You cannot create a life. You just provided some substance, some genetic substance to make a body, yes? That too, you did not think about all these things. Out of your own compulsions, you do something and they land up. Yes? So, understanding that a child is not your making, it's a privilege, they have come through you. Enjoy the privilege, cherish the privilege, respect the privilege. Do not abuse the privilege that's been given to you. It's very important. Why are you brought up this or that? You're supposed to grow up as a human being, isn't it? It is just that most people never create an atmosphere for people to grow. They are brought up the way you want them to be, not the way they should be as life. If you're not ramming up nonsense into their head, they have a tremendous sense of observation. And observation naturally pops up a million questions. You answer as many questions as you can, the way you know it. What you don't know, you just tell them, I don't know. My only problem is I came a few years earlier than you, this doesn't mean I know everything. Admit it to your children, what's the problem? Yes? You think they can't read, you're not even bloody sincere about things that you're saying? You think they can't see it? If you think they can't see it, I want you to know, by the time they are 10, 12, 13, if they have some problem within them, they don't come to you, they go to their friends. Why? Because they feel they are more sincere than you, no other reason. Yes or no? You're acting like you'll drop from heaven. Who wants to listen to your nonsense? Unless they're so bloody brainwashed by the time they're 10, 12. They will not listen. Any intelligent human being will not listen to bullshit. Yes or no? Unless you're brought up on it seriously. So, just handle this privilege sensibly, respectfully. Do not abuse this privilege. Just you have to protect them from wrong influences. Rest, leave them free. If you think they will anyway go wrong, that must be your own self-knowledge. You are so sure of yourself, my children bound to go wrong. Just protect them from… you have to protect them a little bit from wrong influences. But at the same time, they must remain free of your influence, which is also a bad influence. I'm saying, if you show that what you're doing is of real worth and you're willing to invest your life in that, why would your children not invest their life in it? If you don't show that commitment, if you do not show that involvement with life and you're expecting them to become wonderful whatever, no, it will not happen. And they don't listen to what rubbish you say, they're observing what you do and how you are, isn't it? So if you want to raise children, please raise yourself. Don't worry about the children, just raise yourself into a wonderful human being, make yourself that. It will reflect. It cannot go wrong. But there's no guarantee. Like in everything in life, there's no guarantee because there may be some other stronger influence on the street side, isn't it? When somebody is looking up to you, once you have this privilege that somebody is looking up to you, you must conduct yourself in a certain way. This is something you must understand. No, I'm like this only but I want to fix my child. It doesn't work like that. I brought up my girl.
From the age of 4.5 months, as an infant, she traveled with me alone in the car, okay? I'm a nomad. I'm driving all over the place in India. And she traveled with me. I just strapped her to the… I kept one hand here and simply drove across India. Every day I'm in a different home, people are wonderful to me, but you know, the child is always in different places. One problem with all the adults is, they're very interested in teaching… Everybody around wants to teach a child something that's not worked in their life. When I say it's not worked in their life, when they were 5, 6 years of age, how exuberant and joyful they were. Unfortunately, whatever they learned has made them like this. That means it's not worked. See, with age, physical agility may go. Your aliveness need not go, isn't it? Yes? Whether you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 80 or 100, your aliveness should not become less. If your aliveness is becoming less, it means you're committing suicide in installments. Maybe the next generation will want to go little faster than you. Yes, because they're seeing… See, I want you to understand the child's eyes. He doesn't have the information that you have. Let us say, not even your teenage boys and girls, they may not even be looking at you. They have other interests. I'm saying 1, 2-year-old children, just out of infancy, they're looking at you, they grasp things that you don't imagine possible, believe me. They're grasping things about you that you have not imagined possible. Only thing is, they may not be storing this in their articulate memory, that they can actually know that this is what it is, but they know it by experience. They are seeing adults are committing suicide in installments. Slowly they're becoming less and less alive, as if they're practicing to go to their grave. Grave faces they're carrying everywhere. This must change. The best thing that you can do to your child is to create an exuberant, joyful, loving atmosphere. This is the soil that's needed for the child to grow, not your advice, not your everything. When my child was growing up, I told everybody around, nobody teaches her anything. As a rule, nobody should teach her ABC, 1, 2, 3, nothing. Just leave her alone. By the time she was 18 months old, she could speak 3 languages fluently, okay? And she grew up like this, then she went to school. I thought of not sending her to school, but I was too much of a nomad to carry her around. As she grew up, I sent her to school. She was 13 years of age, she was disturbed about something that happened in school. She came to me and then she said, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you're not telling me anything." I said, "Well, I am not given to teaching anything unsolicited. Okay, now you have come, let's see." I said, "This is all you have to know. No other teaching needed for you. This is all you need to know. Never look up to anybody. Never look down on anybody. That's all. There is no authority to look up to. There is nothing to look down upon. This is not simple. As simple as it sounds. Because the moment you think this is great, you look up to it. The moment you think, this is nothing, you look down on it. No, you don't make the judgment, you simply look at everything just the way it is. If you see everything just the way it is, believe me, your children will navigate their life extremely well, because they're seeing everything just the way it is. But now everything is exaggerated, something is high, something is low, something is God, something is devil, something is that, something is this. No, just look at everything just the way it is. Effortlessly they will navigate, everybody has the intelligence to do this.